Thanks so much for joining us at 10. I'm Mark McPherson. Rising child care costs and a lack of reliable options have impacted communities nationwide, with rural areas hit the hardest. Leaders in Dodge County fear what will happen in June when state funding runs out. WMTV's Shayna Najawan has more on their concerns. Shayna.
Mark, without support, they tell me the area's workforce and economy could take a hit, and families may be forced to make some tough decisions as costs continue to climb.
It was a big decision when I was coming back from maternity leave.
Parents in Dodge County say finding trustworthy childcare is a challenging and lengthy process.
To make sure that I found a provider that I trusted that allowed me to still bring my whole authentic self to work, not worrying about what was happening with my kiddos behind the scenes.
And with state funding dwindling,
I can tell you that individual childcare centers are going to go down because of it.
Dirk Langfoss, CEO of the YMCA of Dodge County, says this is the first time in his 31-year career he's worried about whether child care services can continue to operate.
The families that we serve, their credit cards are tapped, and we sit there and we put a 30% on top of it. That's really going to force these families into some very difficult situations.
Businesses are also feeling the impact.
Ultimately, we need to make sure that they have the childcare they need so that they can come to work and put their best foot forward and do everything that they can.
Senior Talent Development Manager with Fincantieri Marine Group, Kayla Ebert, says lack of reliable, affordable care directly affects workforce retention.
If they don't have that trust in their childcare, they're not going to be able to be productive and efficient at work. They're not going to be able to focus on what they're doing. And not only work-wise are we going to see an impact in their productivity, but we're also going to see that impact in their mental health.
Without it, rural Wisconsinite families may be forced to make life-changing decisions.
I think this is going to force a lot of families into the decision of family planning. It will also force families to have the conversation of, should we both keep working, or does one of us need to quit due to if there's an increase in costs because of this funding being cut?
These leaders are urging parents, employers, and community members to contact their state legislators to advocate for continued child care funding. They can also contact local organizations such as the Dodge County Chamber of Commerce. Live in the studio, Shayna Najawan, WMTV 15 News.
Shayna, thank you. In support of the message, local officials gathered in Beaver Dam this morning to inform community members about the potential impacts.
And what we saw at the meeting was the employers that were there. Most of them were stunned that this was an issue. Most of them were totally unaware of it. Most of them were totally saying, yep, we need to do something because we have a hard enough time staffing, yet alone if this ends up happening, because employees will quit.
The Child Care Count Stabilization Payment Program is scheduled to end June 30th. Governor Tony Evers proposed making the program a permanent state initiative. However, the funding was removed from the budget by the state legislature. As we just mentioned, the cost of child care in Wisconsin is expensive. In fact, the average cost in the state is nearly $15,000 a year. That averages out to more than $1,200 a month. Wisconsin is the 17th most expensive state when it comes to child care. Infant care, even more expensive, set nearly $17,000 a year. So how does that compare to other costs you might have? Well, it costs a little more than $9,000 a year for in-state tuition at a four-year public college. Infant care in Wisconsin for 1 year costs nearly 86% more. Wisconsin is one of 38 states where infant care is more expensive than college. And infant care in the state costs nearly 23% more than the average cost of rent. All of this data comes from the Economic Policy Institute.